Welcome everybody, it's Unstoppable Stelezzi here with another Age of Empires 3 Wars of Liberty casted match. Since I didn't spawn into the map, I figured, you know what, let me cast this 1 versus 1. It's such a good opportunity, so why not pass up on it? From the sound of it, they don't even know that I'm not even spawned into the game pretty much. Yeah, that's fine though. I'll just watch everything and tell you about what's going on. So what civs do we got here? We got ourselves a Haiti, right over here. And we got ourselves a Peru, right over here. So they appear to be on one on each side of this river. I believe this is the Niger River Delta. I don't think it's a Niger River Delta. I believe it's something in West Africa. I can't quite remember which map it is. But either way, on this map, you got a fishing part over here to the lower left. And then over here you got sort of a river section as well, pretty much. So it's kind of similar to the Indochina map, where the more shallow parts you can cross with your soldiers, and the more deeper parts, obviously you can't, like the more bluer water like this. So yeah, basically similar to the Indochina map, except it's in Africa, and the natives don't work, because the devs quite haven't figured out what to do with them yet. So yeah, they're pretty to look at, but yeah, they don't really help you out too much. Yeah, so in terms of this matchup, Haiti versus Peru, in terms of tier listing, the Haiti is probably going to beat the Peru. However, we have seen instances of really well-developed Perus being able to turtle against Haiti before. That's all because Peru has some really nice units that they can build a pretty nice defense with, and they can take advantage of their speed on death bonus to essentially elongate their unit's lifespan, right? So we see that Geaf has aged up right now with the Haiti Civ up here. He has gone with the German immigrants. It seems to be a pretty popular one for most Haiti players. Not me. I like to go with the Arabs, usually. But a lot of people justify German immigrants because it can be the more economical choice. That's because with Haiti, you have the option actually of receiving 2 gold works from the home city. And then you can get 3 more in age 3 as the German immigrants. So there's a bit of synergy there, actually. And then, of course, if you go all the way from age 2 to 5 with the German immigrants, you can get 2 factories as well. So there's a lot of greed involved there. See, it's actually this card right here, the rum industry. This is the card where you basically want to combine this with the German immigrants to get a total of 5 gold works. With all the technologies available to research as well. That would be lapidary, couture, and balance scale. Yep. So basically that's why that exists. But in general, if we look back at the deck again, I wanted to check a few things before we get into any sort of real fighting. In general, this deck is going to be more aggro base. Yeah. You see Zinglins. You see the Escopetero Skirmisher. Here you see Pickets in age 3, followed by the Infinite Vivandera shipment. Also Volantes as well, as your sort of counter to artillery. This is a very powerful age 4 card where you got the ability to ship in Pedreros, a mortar you can use to basically get a really good siege on your army. Yeah, so a lot of good stuff going on there. Looks like Haiti will actually start to raid, from what it looks like here. Essentially, these are the Zinglins. They're basically coyote runners, yeah. You could tell from their movement speed and everything that they're quite similar to them. Big difference is the Zinglins actually get a built-in multiplier against villagers. So they actually are really good at shredding villas apart pretty much. They end up doing a total of 36 hand-attacked villagers away from the Haitian town center. Because with Haiti, their military actually does more statistical damage the farther they are away from the TC. So if you want to get a lot of damage out of your military, it's best to be super aggressive away from your town center and get full advantage of that, pretty much. Looks like right here, Varingo is trying to hold the line with some Legion Peruanas, Grenadiers. Normally, hand cav units like the Zinglin should pretty easily handle the Grenadiers, but the problem is Peru actually has a really good card to turn their Grenadiers into sort of a good defensive unit against melee attacks. In particular, there is this card over here, if I'll show it to you. So it is actually called the Campaña de Restauración. Essentially, this one adds 15 damage to all actions, so ranged and melee. It also adds an additional 15 damage to melee attack. What does that mean? Basically, the Grenadier gains 15% more range attack and 30% more hand attack. 30%. That's as much as a guard upgrade in the game. That's quite big. It essentially allows your Legion Peruanas to actually get some decent hand combat stats, right? And there's one more piece to the puzzle as well. This Japanese colony you see here that Varingo goes with now with his Peru. This will also give you access to a technology called Martial Artists. Martial Artists adds, I believe, an additional 10 or 15% to the hand attack of all ranged infantry, including, well, the Legion Peruana. So you got two sort of technology/cards that turn the Legion Peruanas into really good melee units, on top of having, their charged grenade throw, on top of being able to fire their musket. It becomes a really versatile infantry unit that can hold its own in a lot of situations. And definitely in this situation, these Zinglins cannot fight against a big massive Peruanas like that, so they actually have to retreat and stick to more raiding. Yeah, if you want to fight against these Legion Peruanas head-on, you're probably going to need something from the assault class. Probably Mosquiteros, or even Escoltas. Escoltas are going to be the best because they have multipliers against heavy infantry, but a huge mass of Mosquiteros could also work in a pinch because of their hack armor and area of effect damage. It's really what you need in that particular situation, right? So yeah, Geaf's going to have to think up with something to deal with Varingo's Grenadier spam right here. So, from what we're seeing, the Legion Peruanas will be able to push towards Geaf up in this area over here, right? So the way that Geaf is probably going to deal with this is he's going to, it looks like he's getting a stable right now, which tells me he must be trying to age up right now, or he's in the process of it, right? Why else would he be getting a stable? This is only a hint you can learn from Haiti, because Haiti is, I believe, the only Latin American civ that does not have any H2 stable units. So no Lancero, nothing like that. It's a mostly all-in barrack civ. So if you see a stable going up with Haiti, it means that they're pretty close to going to H3, so they can either make the Escoltas or the Yanettes, which, are H3 cav units for the Latin civ. So yep, my prediction was correct. He is in H3 now, and that stable will likely be making Escoltas. Escoltas is really the brute force approach to dealing with these Grenadiers. They'll have hand armor to resist their bayonets. They will have some pretty good HP, and then of course they'll have multipliers against the line tag or the heavy infantry tag, which, as you know, Grenadiers all have. So really, Geaf is going to need a good number of those Escoltas to be able to do that, and he'll probably need to use some of these Zinglins as sort of a meat shield to get it done. However, it looks like the stable is not done with its queuing, and it will not get the Escoltas out. Wow, that's pretty brutal. But Geaf has another solution. He's going to make some Batallo do Diablos from his German colony, one of the immigrant battalions. If you didn't know, immigrant colonies like that have their own battalion units that you can train from them for about one shipment. So it's basically like having extra cards, basically, of making units that don't belong to your country, which is pretty strong. In the case of Germany, they have this unit here, which is like a Ulan, a low HP, high attack form of hand cav. You also have Bloomers, which is a skirm, and the Krupp steel cannon, which is a mortar and culverin hybrid type of artillery. So great for sieging and great for fighting off artillery. So yeah, it looks like the Zinglin Yulon combo is working really well here. Right, and Varingo is going to try to respond with his own pardos. These are a pikeman unit, so essentially they'll be great for fighting through the Zinglins since they're like coyote runners, and they'll be great for fighting anything on top of a horse, like a Yulon, a Hussar, a Dragoon, anything like that. So yep, Varingo was able to stop the bleeding in that section, and now he can try to push in again. I don't think he really wants a stable staying up for too long for Geaf there, because once the Escoltas get on the field, Varingo really doesn't have a solution to that. Not even the pardos. Yeah, the thing you gotta understand is there's two types of cavalry in this game. There is scout cavalry, like those Ulans you just saw in the Zinglins. They are more specialized against skirms. They have pierce armor. They usually have some sort of attack that benefits them against skirms, like maybe a multiplier or just relevant stats. The assault class of cavalry, as you know, is a bit different. It's more specialized in fighting in melee in close quarters. It has hand armor, and particularly it has some sort of attack to benefit it against heavy infantry. So your pikemen, your muskets, even your grenadiers. Because as you know, line units, or heavy infantry units, are the ones that essentially are really good against anything in melee, so fighting cavalry in particular, right? They have bayonets, they have spears, they have halberds and swords. Your skirmishers are your long-range infantry, and then your heavy infantry are your short-range infantry. So yeah, that's basically the difference between those two. So from what we're going to see here, we need to figure out exactly what Varingo's going to do to deal with the Escoltas that could potentially come out here, right? Geaf actually went with the Yanets, which I'm pretty shocked by. Yanets, I feel like, not the unit you really want, because that's mostly going to be good against maneuver units. Not maneuver units, but rather your assault units, right? The Dragoons, like the Yanet, belong to the maneuver class, and the maneuver class is good against the assault class. Right now, all Varingo can do to make assault units would, of course, be Mucheteros. But the thing is, that goes against the whole philosophy of what Varingo's doing right now. He was sort of going like Grenadier or Spearman. Wouldn't make sense for him to completely change that up and go Muchetero when it really doesn't benefit him, right? So really, Geaf is just making units that they're kind of like filler paper, you know? Your nuts at this point would be acting like a bunch of fancy, speedy musketeers almost, because there's not anything really special in their range attack right now. Yeah, I mean, look at this stat right here. Range attack of about 23. Hey, that's almost like an unupgraded musketeer, right? Yeah, not that impressive, especially when it's a 2-pop unit that's pretty pricey. Definitely need to get some of those Escoltas in there. Geaf does have one of those Krupp steel cannons that I mentioned to actually siege away at this barracks. Yeah, and that's exactly what he's going to do. It's going to force Varingo to eventually have to confront this cannon head on. Like that, yeah. Now he can actually attack that house right over there, which is good. And now he's going to target the market, it looks like. That could be good, you know, depending on if Varingo needs to trade some resources. Then he has to pay another 100 wood to rebuild it. Oh wow, he actually got another battalion of the Krupp steel cans. Yeah, basically if you age up with German immigrants twice, starting from age 1 to 3, you get a free Krupp steel can. If you train a battalion in age 3 where they're first available, you'll be able to get about 2 of them. And if you wait till age 4, you'll be able to get 3 of them, right? Basically, immigrant battalions get bigger up until age 4, and then from there they just stay at that rate. They don't get bigger in age 5. They used to a long time ago, then the devs figured out it gets a little broken after a while, having these huge, gigantic size armies pretty much. So they had the cap at age 4, because that's basically how unit cards work, right? That's sort of what the immigrant battalions are supposed to simulate as cards, since they cost the same resource, which is a shipment. The town center does go down because of all this heavy siege-based artillery that's going on to that town center, right? And now the Vivanderas are going to hit away at these villagers from long range. Mind you, as units are defeated, these Peruanas will actually be able to run fast and charge down the skirms, right? That speed on death bonus that they get. Looks like Veringo does have a stable doing Lanceros, and he also made some of his cavalry medics from his Japanese colony. Cavalry medics are one of the units you can make from the Japanese immigrant colony. So cavalry medics, they're basically like hussars that can also heal your troops up. But at the same time, these Vivanderas, which we see from Haiti, are also a healer skirmisher, so they can also heal your units too. So a bit of healing on both sides, potentially. That is until, the fighting stops. Yeah, unfortunately, you can't heal units while you're in battle, so yeah, we'll see who ends up winning here and who gets a chance to heal their stuff up. Right. Geaf did add a few Escopeteros in as well. It looks like he's actually switching into Escopetero. Escopeteros, they're essentially the early skirmisher unit the Latin American civs can make. Most of them, that is. Peru has sort of their own unit that works a bit differently. But in general, the Escopeteros are quite different than your normal sort of age 2 skirm like the crossbow, because Escopeteros actually use a shotgun type weapon, which means they actually deal splash damage of about 1. And then with the arsenal, you can get a technology called the buckshot that brings that shotgun shelling up to an area of effect of about 2, which means it can hit units in an even wider arc. Right, so that's quite powerful. Looks like Veringo was able to deny some sort of fort there, which is pretty powerful. And now Veringo can actually go for a counterattack, it looks like. Yeah, I'm actually quite impressed with how Veringo's been able to hold this line here. Quite good. It's quite good, actually. Another little fact you should learn, immigrant units like this actually get auto-upgraded, so you don't actually have to upgrade them manually. It's all shadow tech, as it's called. And speaking of escoltas, there's some from Peru, actually. So, yep, escoltas are a common unit, which means any Latin American civ can make them. Similar to the Escopeteros, the Yanets, the Vivanderas, the Pardos. So, yep, basically this is the primary heavy cavalry unit or the assault unit that Latin American civs get in H3. The H2 one would be the Muchatero, of course. Right? Not all civs can upgrade their Muchateros beyond the veteran upgrade, since it's sort of an archaic unit. Thus, the Escolta is considered like your more permanent assault unit. But that being said, I think at least half of the Latin American civs that use Muchateros can actually get them to Imperial upgrade through Royal Guard or other means. So, it's not quite that solidified as like the definitive assault unit. A lot of the times you're going to see a mixture of both units being used together to accomplish different tasks. Really, the Muchateros for their mass ability, their ability to do area of effect, and then the Escoltas for their anti-heavy infantry specialty against smaller targets. We got a pretty big mass here of cavalry. Looks like it's going for a bit of a raid there. Gonna take up that Civite, which is good. And these ones gonna take out these villages here. Oh wow, look at this, the Royal Dalmats. The Royal Dalmats. The Royal Dalmats is a assault unit that only Haiti can do. It's called an ultimate unit because it's a special unit that you can only make from a specific building that you can ship from the home city only. So basically it's a one-time building that you get a card at your home city, it gives you a wagon, and then if you lose that building, you can't rebuild it again. So it's really considered like almost your castle unit from Age of Empires 2. One thing to note about these units is they all have the auto heal on idle abilities, so if they stand in place, they actually begin to heal themselves up. And then also they have build limits, so you can only have so many of them. I'm not Haiti, so I can't see the build limit, but I think it's about 15. Yeah, it looks like that was a GG right there. Once the Royal Dalmats are out, there's really not much Faringo can do. Royal Dalmats, since it's the end of the match, is a very powerful unit. The biggest thing that it does when it defeats units, there's a chance it will turn them into one of Haiti's villagers. Yeah, so there's a bit of RNG chance there that if you're fighting a unit in the middle of the map, right near a mine or something, you'll get a bunch of free villagers that you can now start sticking on that mine and start utilizing it. Or sometimes you can even use those villagers to build a forward base when you're attacking, without having to move your own villagers from your own base and risk losing them. So there's a lot of power there, pretty much. Yeah, so this was a pretty good match. I just checked the post-game stuff for you. Resources, definitely Geaf was ahead there, as I said. Haiti with German immigrants is a very powerful economic choice. And then in terms of performance and military, it was pretty neck and neck in terms of the kill rates, right? Pretty close. Faringo, for being the second one to go AH3, put up a pretty good fight, and I thought there was a few chances he might even be able to win it. So, yeah. That's why I say Haiti versus Peru is a much closer matchup than you might think. Yeah, big time. Thank you for coming, everyone. I'm glad I got this opportunity. It's very rare we get to look at casted games live, so yeah, I figured I'd give it to you. Sign off now. See you on the next one, whenever that is. Bye-bye.